Wonderful. Okay. Um, Hello everyone. Good morning and good evening, considering wherever you are right now. And apologies for the delay. We had some logistical error, but that is sorted now. So I will be taking over the session today. And I hope you all had a great week. I hope you had an amazing, productive week. So before we begin, I'm sure you must have read what the session for must session is today. Are you actually listening or are you waiting for your turn to speak? So before we get into the details of what we mean by that, although all of us now understand what the session is going to be about, let's begin the session with a small mindfulness activity. So we are able to actually listen during the session instead of just hearing and waiting for our turn to speak. So I want you all to just settle into the space you are in and pay attention to your body for a minute, for a moment, and try to try to focus all your attention to your breathing and notice how you're breathing. Completely relax your body, lean backwards, and try to close your eyes if it feels comfortable for you. And slowly try to inhale through your nose. Hold your breath for a second or two, and try to breathe out through your mouth. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. One more time. Inhale through your nose and exhale from your mouth. Keep your eyes closed and try to focus on the different sounds around you. In the background. It might be the fan, it might be the birds if it's morning time, and it might be someone speaking in the background, children, or the TV. Try to focus on what's going on in your background. And now, slowly breathe once again through your nose and exhale from your mouth. Now you can come back and open your eyes. So, a lot of times when we are talking to someone or someone's talking to us, there are a lot of things going on in the background in a lot of ways. And just a second. Yeah. Okay. So there are a lot of things on in the background. Now, when we were doing the mindfulness activity, a lot of you might not have had to work really hard to hear the background noises, the birds, or anything in the background, right? Because you were just merely hearing those voices. But listening is very different from hearing or listening to speak or waiting for your turn to speak. How many of us have ever walked away from a conversation feeling like we were completely unheard? We might have spent about 15 minutes talking to someone, telling them about a personal struggle, but when we walk away from that conversation, uh, we might feel like we were completely unheard. So a lot of us might have felt that way. It might be that the other person was silent. It might be that the other person might not have even ignored us. They were there with us, they were silent as well. But, you know, while we were speaking, we must have noticed that they were somewhere else. They were not present. They were not mentally present while you were trying to speak, right? Um, Usually when someone is talking to us, instead of actually listening to them, our brain is busy doing these analysis, like what should I say next? How should I be defending myself? Or how should I share this relatable story of mine? Right? When is my turn going coming out to be? And how do I fix this person's emotions? How do I prove that I'm right about my opinion? Or how do I help this person out? Right? Very, very few people actually listen to try to understand the other person. And most of us are just listening in order to respond, right? And this single habit actually creates a lot of issues in our marriages, in our friendships, workplaces as well. And we might not have been able to hear all the instructions that might have been shared by a boss, and our mind might be somewhere else, right? So even when we are parenting, we have our children. Even we don't even have active and meaningful conversations with our children, right? This is something that is very painful, right? A huge number of people, they're not emotionally connected, and it's not because they don't get the help that they need. It's because they want to be heard, they want to be listened to, and in return, what do? We give them an analysis, we give them solutions, we give them advice. Now, let's say a woman, she might be exhausted after spending the entire day working in the kitchen, and at night time, she might share with her family that she's tired, she's exhausted. And what do we tell her? You should go have rest, right? You should go have rest, or what is something so unique you have been doing the entire day? Everybody does that. And start taking care of yourself. Or a man who might come home and say that my day was very exhausting. I had to deal with a lot of people and I'm very stressed. And in return, we don't say something very helpful. We just brush it off, just like we brush it off for women and for children especially. We don't take children seriously. We don't take teenagers seriously. Children are interrupted. Children, when they are talking, we are laughing around, we are looking here and there. And what happens eventually? This sort of conversation, such sort of conversation, it eventually makes the other person feel emotionally invalidated, or a person who is not sufficient enough, a person who is not worthy enough to be heard or to be loved, right? So, listening is a very, very important aspect of human connection if it's done the right way. Now, let's imagine that a child who might be riding a bicycle, he falls down, and you pick that child up, you hug that child, and you provide him with emotional support. You tell them it's gonna be okay. You just hug them, and it proves to be sufficient for that child to feel better. right? But when adults do this, when adults actually are in a situation where they are needed to be hugged, when they need emotional connection, where they need someone to listen to them, we start offering them advices, we start offering them solutions. We never outgrow that need for emotional intimacy. We never outgrow that need to be hugged, that need to be listened to, that we have when we are children, right? That need never ever leaves us, right? So in our modern world, actually, we are constantly, because of social media especially, we are constantly trained to be in a state where we have to quickly react to things, where we have to share our opinions, where we have to prove a point. Now, someone might be sharing their suffering, and we might start comparisons. We might start sharing something relatable. We might start judging that person. And although silence is not supposed to be something bad, of course, it's good to be silent. And active, a very important aspect of good listening and active listening is to be silent. But silence sometimes does not equal to active listening. You should be silent, and at the same time, there are some very other important things that have to be there. You might be silent and you're looking towards the other side while the person who is talking is sitting in front of you. And instead of listening to them, instead of advising them, there might be some other things you might be doing in order to help that person. People don't need answers all the time. And from the very beginning of our career as therapists, we learn something very important. Whenever we see a crying person, a crying woman, we become very uncomfortable about it. We panic. We enter a state of panic as to how we can fix this person. But this is a misconception. You don't always have to fix someone. You don't always have to help someone remove an emotion they are feeling. Not every emotion needs to be fixed. Sometimes people only need companionship in their pain. Someone sitting next to them, looking at them, actually listening, and being curious about what they are telling you. Not curious to answer or for you to share a relatable story, but curious enough for them to be told that you understand their pain and that you are here for them. You can use phrases like, I am here for you. That must have hurt really bad. I want to know more about your story. I want to know more about what you are going through, right? These are very simple words. They are very small words, but when you look at the intensity of these words, they can be life changing for someone who has been emotionally invalidated for a very long period of time, right? So what is something that actually stops us from being active listeners? Sometimes we want to be right more than actually being connected to someone. Sometimes we just want to be in, right? And sometimes, as I just shared above, that sometimes we just want to prove ourselves right. But at the other times, we feel uncomfortable with people feeling a certain way, like a woman crying, a child crying, right? So that is something that makes us uncomfortable. Sometimes it might be ego, sometimes it might be discomfort. Sometimes it might be impatience, right? We want quick conversations. We are always short of time. We want to get done with things, right? Sometimes you yourself are so emotionally exhausted. Sometimes your mind is so tired that it is unable to hold any sort of emotional space for someone else. That is a valid thing as well. And at times, most of the times, in fact. The issue is that we have never actually taken time out to listen to our own selves. People who have grown in emotionally dismissive environments, they usually find it hard and difficult to emotionally hold other people because they never learned what actually healthy listening feels like. So, moving forward, what are some practical ways that can help us become better listeners? You can you can stop preparing your replies. First of all, you can actually, before starting a conversation, you need to stop thinking about what you have to reply, what your answer is going to be. It's okay if you don't have an answer at the end of the conversation. It's completely fine. You don't have to think too much about what you have to say at the end of the conversation. It's completely fine. Just be fully there. You don't have to have mentally draining arguments in order to prove that you care for someone or you are there for them, right? You just have to be there, silent, and once and for all, stop thinking about what you have to tell someone at the end of the conversation. Then, the second step to being a good listener is to ask yourself that what is this person feeling when they are talking behind all those words that they are sharing? What is the emotion? Try to sense that. Try to look ab- above and beyond the words that are being shared, right? Try to understand the emotional state of the person. The third, a very, very important thing is to avoid the idea or remove the idea to fix everything at once for anybody. You cannot fix a person who has just came out of an emotional crisis and they are only sharing something painful with you. They might just be sharing it with you to be listened. They don't want you to fix anything. People don't want you to fix everything for them. People just want space. They just want emotional safety to share things. Another thing is to understand that silence is not a bad thing. Silence is not a bad thing at all. Silence is awkward. Silence can be awkward. But silence is usually where sometimes people realize that they can be honest, where they can be fully themselves, where they don't have to pretend to be someone they are not, right? And that brings me to the reflection part. Reflect. When someone is talking, try to reflect back what you heard. When you are silently listening to someone, when, for instance, someone is sharing that they might have experienced abandonment, right? You can say something like, so you felt abandoned, or this might have really affected you, or this might have felt really overwhelming, right? So when you reflect back what someone has said, when you repeat it, when you summarize it, this is a strategy for good active listening. They will realize that I am being heard. This person is actually listening to me and what I have to say. They're not just present there, they're actually listening to me. So reflect back when we are talking to someone. This actually helps people feel understood. Then other thing is you can put away all your distractions, your mobile phone that you are scrolling while talking to people, right? It is one of the greatest distraction of our time. When someone is talking, have uh, we have people around us and they are talking and we are stuck on our phone. When you're multitasking, you cannot actively listen to someone while you are multitasking. A person, a human being in need, at least deserves your undivided attention, not with your brain operating with 100 tabs working all at once. You're using your phone, you're waiting for a meeting, and you're thinking about what to do next, how your week has been or the coming week is going to be like. So you need to get off these distractions. And nothing puts a person off more than showing them that there are other things that could simultaneously go along while they are actually sharing something painful from their life. This is a matter of just being a sensitive human to someone's pain, someone's agony, right? Then, very important, as I said, defensiveness. A lot of us listen to be defensive. A lot of us listen so we can tell people how they should not feel a certain way. You are overthinking. Look at the people who are doing better than you. Look at the people who have gone through worse sufferings, yet they are doing great in their life. This is a form of toxic positivity, as we call it. Everybody's struggle, everybody's pain is for their own to carry. For me, my mobile phone getting dysfunctional is a huge thing. For someone else, it might be not. They might get it replaced, right? So for every single one of us, our pain thresholds are, you can say, our hitting points, they are different. And statements like these, that you are better than so and so person when it comes to such and such situation. You should be thankful. And then a lot of us religiously gaslight as well. People that you're not grateful to God, you're this spiritual guilt, as we call it. So these things eventually makes the other person feel like they were much better off without sharing it with you, right? So don't be defensive. Try to be curious. Try to look into what the other person is trying to say. Try to tell them that they are not going to be corrected. They are not there to be handed over with a sugar-coated advice. Just say, it's so simple. Just say, I hear you. I know that sounds very heavy. I know that must have been very exhausting. That must have been a lot. Your brain cannot process logic at a time when it's emotionally active, when you're going through a trauma, when you're giving solutions too early to a crying person who just came out of fire, and you're telling them that you should do this. Just give them a safe space where they can be themselves. They can share about their vulnerabilities. If you move forward to giving them solutions, you are making things worse. Right? So your interruptions, your advices, you minimizing their pain is something that can be hard to sit with for a person who is already dealing so much. So, very important. I hope all of you listened to the steps on how to be an active listener. It's very important to listen, to understand, rather than to respond. So, I had a small activity that I wanted to do with all of you. If you can write it in the chat box, or you can say it out if you want to. Just a second. What is something that you have been wanting people to understand, but but it has been hard for you to communicate it because people don't listen? Would you be able to share it? Any emotion or something that you think people around you should have done a better job reacting to or listening to, and you want people to know about it? Would you be able to share it in the chat box, or you can share it? Up to you. Okay. Am I audible to everyone? I'm so sorry, I didn't see the chat, so I just realized I was not clear.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Sure. So, would anybody like
At
to
least
share?
to me.
Okay, wonderful. So, what is something all of you want people to understand, but they don't because they don't listen? Would anybody like to share?
MCD live.
Okay, that's okay. All right, so I'll share mine. I really wish people understood that at times, especially when I'm worried or when I'm stressed about something, they don't opt to provide me with logical solutions about how my situation is going to be better someday or the other if we'll all limit. Yeah, that's something I relate to as well. I wish people understood, but they don't because they don't listen. And a few months back, when I was sick, actually, very, very sick, I was hospitalized, and I was hearing people tell me, especially very close people who supposedly understand how I do emotionally, my emotional thresholds. They're aware about it, and they're aware of it. Yet, they all decided to tell me about relatable stories of how so and so got sick and how they survived a situation like this, and how your situation compared to their situation is very less traumatizing. So you should have patience when it comes to your medical condition. And I was very surprised. And after that, I decided not to talk to anyone about my medical condition. And um, that is why I wished someone had good active listening skills and would have actually listened to me rather than invalidating me. So it's people who are close to you who do understand, and yet they don't have the skills. They don't understand how to communicate. I don't blame everyone for that. People just don't know at times. People just don't have the emotional awareness or the psychoeducation regarding communication. So people are not always you know blameworthy for that. They have grown in an environment where things like um good communication, it's rare. When you are teenagers, when you are children, a lot of us have grown up in environments when, as teenagers, we weren't heard. As teenagers, we always have a we call it misconception, but teenagers do feel misunderstood. They say that we are being misunderstood. Nobody understands me. And what do we tell them? It's just a phase. Every teenager goes through that. So eventually, it does more damage than good. You are brushing someone's emotions off. And of course, it's damaging to them. Comparing, yes, comparing. That brings me to the story where I I had an E in my mathematics in GCSE exams, and I always used to hear about my sister who had a world distinction in GCSE mathematics, and I was always compared whenever I shared my struggles about mathematics with my teachers. I always had, instead of being told that, because my interest for psychology, my interest for arts, and I always had to hear from my teachers that if your sister could do it, why couldn't you? Why are you not able to do it? She's your sister, right? So, my actual struggle, because maths is a weakness for me, and my actual struggle was dismissed because of comparison, because I was not heard. So in every profession, every relationship, um, being an active listener, good listener who understands your struggles, who understands your pain, who listens to be there for you and does not listen to dismiss you, invalidate you, it's very important. And if you have think you're very lucky. It's a very it's a very good thing if you have that space where you are heard without being invalidated. Anybody wants to share something, and then we can sign off.
Yeah, I have a couple of points I would like to share. As
Yeah,
usual,
please.
it was very nicely done. I think we have superficial conversation almost all day, and in those superficial conversation, uh, there is always an element of I want to get something out of my mind before I lose it, and we it's mostly like a social gossip instead of a like one-on-one deep conversation. And active listening and empathetic listening is it's difficult to find for sure. um, when I was many years, I came across, and you probably know about this, is a technique called nonviolent communication, NVC. And the first thing I remember very clearly is to suspend your judgment. Because, as you mentioned, we're constantly telling people that whatever they are feeling or going through is trivial. Uh, and if we can suspend the judgment, then we can hopefully listen what the other person is saying and feeling. And the other part of that communication was request and not demand. And that may be something we didn't talk about that, but um, so the art of listening is it's very complicated, and unfortunately, in our day-to-day life, we have very superficial, non-trivial communication, and it's never helpful. The other thing I want to say is that the reason people give solutions and give comparison is we are always in this mode of how do I help this person? And we come up with, if you look down on other people who have suffered more, you will feel better. And you are so right that most people are not looking for solution in those deep conversation. They are just looking for acknowledgement. So just saying, I hear you, or I see, I know how you feel, things like that. Uh, but it's very tempted to come up with a solution and quote hope for them in the first few minutes when all they are trying to do is share their information.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you so much for adding your insights. Always very helpful and very, very insightful. Thank you so much, Dr. Salil Gupta. And very, very rightly said. A lot of us, because in the modern day, um, all of us are very overstimulated when it comes to, when it comes to conversations, sharing our opinion. Not everybody would be coming from a bad intention. A lot of people, when they're doing these things, as I shared, they don't know better. They don't know how to do it because they haven't seen an environment where healthy conversations take place, where active listening, where deep and meaningful conversations take place. So they don't know better, but we can always learn. It's very important that we learn, unlearn, relearn, And that is what makes us humans at the end of the day. So very important that we learn the skills and the arts of active listening. So that could be
And
helpful.
if you have some reference books or something, you can put it, or maybe a
Yeah,
white paper or something.
I can definitely add a list of good books related to active listening
And
in
is
the group
Shresha or
that can be
Satantra
shared with
or
everybody who joins us.
okay, great.
Sure, sure.
Is
We can do
anyone else
that.
has is anybody else has any comments? Shresha,
No, thank you, Dr.
Amuta,
Gupta.
Yeah,
Great session, Aisha.
Satantra.
thank you. Thank you.
It was a nice session. I enjoyed it, and the thoughts
Okay,
given by you, Sri
Thank
Sagenji, were also very useful. I want to say one thing because
sure.
we are still learning for the how we should talk, how we should behave. Whether all these things are related to our eating habits also, our gut health also. We are not eating at the right time. We are eating at the right food at the wrong time. Our lifestyle, nowadays, fast food is available all the time, and especially the youth of this country, where are they are heading for? So how our mind and gut will be healthy so that we can think better. The people are so furious. Uh, they are egoistic. They are maybe having muscle power, money power, all these things. They don't understand the human values because we are the country rich of gurukuls, rishis, and gurus. Where are we heading
Yes.
for?
Well, that's
This is
why
the
we
burning
have this
issue.
Mighty Champion program.
Yes.
But I think many people should attend this. I
Yeah.
have requested Mr. Aditya Sharma also how we can join on this platform to other people also because many people, most of even all people needs on this available talk which is given on this platform. So this is my
Uh,
concern.
okay. Yeah. Well, we are working on these issues. We do have this available every day, and there are programs that we have for Mighty Champions for men, Mighty Champions for women, and we can send you specific information for other people who can join. It's
Are
free
you
Thank
to
you,
in
sir.
the
Thank
join.
group?
you.
Uh,
Go
so
ahead,
sorry.
Aisha.
So sorry. Are you in the group for MCD Live?
Yes, yes, I'm in that group.
And have you joined the program?
I am trying to join on daily basis at 5 p.m. But sometimes due to my other engagements, I am missing it. Actually,
It's
I
okay.
want
And we are
to
putting it on
involve
YouTube
many
No
other
worries.
people.
But have you been?
I'm in Noida, sir. NCR, Noida,
in Delhi.
Delhi.
So, have you actually signed up for any of our programs, like the Mighty Champions Men or any other?
So I have filled the performer which was given to me in the group.
Okay.
Okay.
Srisha, can we share the details regarding the joining and everything in the group?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Right.
Adarsh. Thank
All
you.
right. Well,
Thank you so much for joining. We'll share the details with you in the group as well, and about how you can bring more people in as well. And
and it is available on YouTube, and
yeah,
you can share that YouTube with your friends and family and other people in
That
your
will be
colleague.
wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much, everybody. Bye.